Hello, this is Andrei from Russky Airsoft workshop. Welcome to the second part of our review of LCTairsoft SR3M. As you probably know, the design of real steel SR3M is based on the design of real steel IS valve. The Airsoft replica by LCTairsoft is designed based on the same principles. It is quite unified with IS valve model, and it shares the same body, same pistol grip, same top cover, same skeleton stock, folding stock, has the same bolt, have the same safety lever, and it has the same firing mode control switch, and also the magazine release catch. The differences are in front part. As you can see, SR3M has a shorter barrel covered by the plastic handguard. The plastic handguard has an underfolding hand grip. The different front side and the rear side that are mounted on the barrel assembly. And the muzzle is of course different, and the muzzle is also having a socket to mount the silencer. Let's take a closer look to the sides. The front side is designed on the same principles as the front sides of the full AK platform, and the rear side here resembles the rear side of AKSU platform, the shortened one. You can flip it here, it has a numbers 1 and 2, because the real steel SR3M is designed to hit the targets on the distances up to 200 meters. That's why the 1 stays for 100 meters, 2 stays for 200 meters. On the left hand side, this SR3M has the same side scope mount as IS valve that you can use to mount the red dots, for example here the PKA, or the optics like PSO1. You must pay attention to this a little bit too high top cover. For example, for PKA you might want to remove some metal from the lighting LED, and for PSO1, the real steel, you would probably need to buy a different mount for PSO that is recently brought to the market by LCTairsoft. The part number is PK256. Now let's take a closer look to the front part. The underfolding hand grip can be opened easily like this. It locks there in place, it's safe, it has a small wobble, but it's okay. And to fold it back, you just push the button here. Now let's remove the plastic front grip to take the look underneath. To do that, you need to push this small button behind the front side and push the plastic foregrip forward, like this. Under the hand grip we can find the battery compartment here. The battery compartment is quite small, so you might have some troubles to finding the suitable battery pack. For example, I found this small one battery pack in United Kingdom. It fits here perfectly. The size of the maximum size of the battery that you can fit in here is up to 100 mm, but I advise to find the battery at most 96 mm long. The battery itself, the width of the battery could be about 25-26 mm, and the height of the battery can be up to 15 mm. As you can see, I have put the foregrip back just to show you the silencer and how the replica looks with the silencer. So to mount the silencer, you must screw it on this socket on the thread, but pay attention here beneath, underneath the front side you can find a button that is actually fixing the silencer when it is on. So to put the silencer on, you just screw it on the socket. And when it is almost at the end of the thread, you push the button here and screw it on until the end. It clicks, so now the silencer is in place and fixed and holding by this hinge. Now you can see the full length of this SR3M with the silencer. The good thing is the silencer has the same diameter of 40 mm as IS valve and VSS window race, so you can use the same rail adapter on this silencer to mount your hand grip or flashlight. Also, as you can see, this replica is quite long and it is about 95 mm longer than IS valve here. Because this replica is longer with the silencer, you can fit a very long inner barrel inside the tube here, inside the silencer, and the total length of the inner barrel can be about 520 mm. Now let's take off the silencer and take a closer look to it. To remove the silencer, you just push the button, the same button that holds the silencer in place. You release it and unscrew it from the socket. So now the silencer is quite far from the locking mechanism, so you can release the button and just keep turning to completely remove the silencer. One positive moment about the silencer: you can use this adapter and put it easily on the silencer via the back side. So you just release it here a little bit, slide it on and fix it when you want, where you want. Now let's disassemble the silencer itself. You can unscrew the forepart. Like this. And you can see that there is a tube fit inside. It is a very good idea, a very good move, very good design from LCT, because now no BBs will stick around in your silencer. Might that happen? Second benefit of this design is if you would like to use a longer barrel, this inner tube will help you to keep this barrel steady and to minimize the vibrations of the barrel. Okay, that would be enough about the externals. Now let's take a look on the internals. Let's disassemble this baby. To do that, first I will remove the top cover, push the latch forward and remove the top cover. Now I need to remove the front grip, like this. Now we can remove the bolt carrier. To do that, we need to unscrew the small inboss here to release the bolt carrier, like this. So we just pull the bolt back and remove the pin here. Don't lose the springs. As I told you, don't lose the springs. Remove the pin, remove the bolt carrier. Now we have access to these two bolts here to disconnect the hop-up unit from the barrel assembly. This will allow you to see better. This is the one. This is the second. Like this. So now your hop-up is disconnected from the barrel assembly. Now we must remove the barrel. To do that, we have two inputs here under the rear side. Just loose them a little bit. And you can slide the barrel assembly off just like this. Unfortunately, we cannot remove the hop-up unit and the inner barrel without removing the gearbox, so I will need to remove the gearbox first. There is no black magic necessary to remove the gearbox. There are just two screws you must remove. First one under the pistol grip. You unscrew it and remove it together with the pistol grip, like this. And now you have only one screw in here that you must remove before you can take the gearbox out. Let's remove the screw here. And now we can take the gearbox out. You just push it a little bit upwards. Be careful with the safety lever. You need to disconnect it here, so by pushing the front part of the gearbox a little bit down or to the left hand side and pulling the gearbox completely out of the body. Don't lose this part. This is the selector lever that will allow you to go from the single shot to the full auto. Now we have only one small problem here. This connector cannot pass through the hole under the rear side. However, LCT has foreseen the pin connectors, so you can just disconnect this part of the wire from the gearbox and leave it like this. Now we have removed the gearbox, we can remove the hop-up unit and the inner barrel. Okay, I will move these parts aside to take a closer look to the gearbox here and the inner barrel assembly. So the gearbox is actually a standard version 3 gearbox. The motor mount has a little bit different angle. On the AK platform the angle is a little bit bigger here. So this angle gives you a more or less correct angle when you compare it with the real steel prototype. Other changes on this, on the right hand side, you have a different selector and safety lever. So this works only for the safety. On the other side you have no selector as you would expect on the default gearbox version 3 for the AK platform, and one of the teeth here is removed because the selector for this platform works like this. So when the selector on your body pushes to the right, to the left, I'm sorry, this selector is kept like this in place, and this allows the gearbox to work in fully automatic mode. These are the changes of this gearbox. From the experience I can say that the internals from LCT are quite good. I would not advised to change anything unless it breaks. Of course, if you want to fine-tune your replica, you're free to go. Now let's take a look on the inner barrel and the hop-up unit assembly. The hop-up unit is actually the same default hop-up for the version 3, made of plastic. This lever is a little bit different to make the adjustment of the hop-up easy when you use it with the top cover on the replica. So you push the bolt, actually it's something like this when it is on the replica, you push the bolt backwards, you have access to this edge, and you can move it back and forth to adjust your hop-up. The inner barrel itself is made of brass. It's 220 mm long, and the diameter according to LCT is 6.02 mm plus min 1/10 of the millimeter. So the barrel is quite good, but it is a little bit soft. The metal is a little bit soft, so you need to pay extra attention and clean the barrel after every game. One more positive moment: the motors that LCT is installing in the replica are quite good. So, for example, a friend of mine was using the default gearbox with SP135 spring that gave him about 440 feet per second muzzle velocity when he was using 0.2 BB, and this motor was working perfectly with the lithium ferrite 9.9 volt battery. Also, good thing, the compression inside this hop-up unit and barrel assembly is very good. So this default V-box that is delivered with the SP100 mainspring gives an output of muzzle velocity of about 380 feet per second measured with 0.2 gram BB. That is, if you would calculate it in meters per second, it will be about 116 meters per second. So giving you extra 15 meters per second from the value you would expect from this SP100 spring. This SR3M is in common a very good replica, very solidly built, has a very good internals, but as you know, there is always place for improvement. So in this SR3M I would improve two things. First, the brass barrels. As you know, the brass is a quite soft metal, so I would replace it with the stainless steel barrel. For example, 229 mm barrels that goes for MP5 replicas made by Prometheus or Ultimate, for example. The second thing I would improve is the wiring and the connector. Because of the small compartment of this replica, you almost pushed to use the lithium polymer batteries or lithium ferrite batteries. So I would change the wire to install a little bit thicker low resistance wires, and also I would install a MOSFET unit in this replica, and of course replace this Tamiya connector with DINS connector. That would be all for the improvements. There is one more minor point that probably will never be tackled because it is there by design. It is a little bit too high top cover, but we cannot do anything about it except using the new mount for the PSO1 scopes, as I told earlier in this video. So thank you very much for watching this. subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook. More reviews are coming. See you guys.